Hello, today we're going to go over wall traps. This is like part 2 of my trap preview series. I've got a video already for floor traps. I will be doing ceilings next. This is for mainly new players that don't have everything unlocked yet. I, for one, when started out, would buy traps from the vendor with my gold skulls, and the traps wouldn't work the way I was hoping they would work. So I tried finding information on what they did, couldn't really find anything easily, so this is literally for brand new players. Side note, the stats that you'll see on all of my traps are fully leveled up. They're level 5 on everything. So, for instance, on this grinder, the damage, the reset time, and the jam threshold is different than it is when you first buy it. Okay, unlike floor traps, wall traps have an indicator. You'll see a faint blue, I can't point, blue hologram coming out off of the trap. That is the trigger range. So this one comes out
The orcs will obey the barricades.
about 3 tiles, and it's the size of the trap itself. Meaning, if you have a trap on the wall and somebody is over here 4 tiles out, it's not going to trigger the trap. Okay, as a brand new player, you have wall or wall arrows, wall darts. As just shown, it goes out 3 tiles. We'll go ahead and do this. Cue this up. And it fires a ton of arrows. You'll see in just a second. Doesn't trigger, gets in the 3. I haven't sat down and broke them down yet to see if it fires, let's say, 10 arrows. And because they fire all over the place, if like 5 hit the front and 5 hit the back, or if they actually pierce through and hit your target. I will be putting out videos breaking traps down, figuring out exactly how they work. But essentially, there's your starting arrow trap. And when it's fully upgraded, it has a damage of 72 per arrow and a 7.5 second reset time. Now, your second starting wall trap is the saw blade launcher. This one's really cool. I use it quite a bit, actually, in small, tight corridors. Fully upgraded, the projectiles last 7.5 seconds. The cooldown of the trap is 14 seconds, and it does 360 damage, which is fairly strong, especially if you set it up properly. So as a new player, or at least for me, because I'm dumb, you put this thing down, right? And these saw blades will shoot out and bounce around the map and go everywhere but where you want them. I wish this was a solid wall. If you put these up, we do it here? We can't, there's no ceiling. If you put them vertical,
You mustn't forget the basics.
I rotate everything and checkerboard everything, don't ask. These will bounce around back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and continue to chunk people down very quickly. The smaller the tunnel, the faster they ricochet. It's awesome, and you put them on both sides. We'll go ahead and do that just to show it. If you put them horizontally, they will continue to go
Lend me your
throughout the map. Oh, that was weird. It hit this little corner and went back. They can also trigger little guys, I believe, 1 tile up. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's find out. It will not hit them, but it does trigger. Same thing with ogres and trolls. 3 up will trigger. And these guys have... Can we see how far out it goes? The trigger range comes out to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come out to the halfway mark of this guy. So it comes out 3.5 from the wall. 1, 2, 3, and halfway. Next up, let's do bomb dispensers. These guys have a damage radius. They have a reset time of 12 seconds. They do 900 damage, and they're relatively expensive at 1,100. Again, fully upgraded. Now these, you'll see, have a trigger range, but they don't. They fire automatically on a set timer.
I cannot place this trap here.
And the higher up you put it, the further the ball's going to bounce around. If you put it on the ground, it'll roll out about 2 tiles. Now you notice I set these up and they all started releasing their bombs. They're all going to fire off set from one another. When you put these up at the beginning of a match, then you start the match, they all release at the exact same time. So they're all set on the same timer. So keep that in mind. Next up, we'll use the grinder. I literally have never used this in a match yet. It has this jam threshold, reset time of 10.5, damage 72. A lot of these low damage things aren't accurate because they do 72 per tick. So we'll go ahead and we'll push everybody through. Didn't it say 72? Yeah, it's supposed to be 72, but it's hitting for less. And it jammed. And this guy's trigger range is literally 1 tile. So even if they're walking up against this edge, they're going to get hit by it. You don't have to butt it right up next to it, which ogres and trolls won't be able to get through anyways. The magic orbs. I love these things. So they have a reset time of 12 seconds, project lifetime of 7.5 seconds. These go, quote unquote, indefinitely, right? They only stay alive for so long, but they also bounce only a certain couple times. So if we throw it this way, it'll go all the way down, it'll bounce back, and die. So it goes 3 bounces, or it'll last until the timer runs out. Whatever happens first. So it'll stay alive for 7.5 seconds, or if it bounces 3 times before the 7.5, it'll expire. 1, 2, dead. Right? So you can throw these down. You can't do it this way. You can double dip on them. You can get threads that'll increase the amount of bounces. You can get threads that increase the damage massively, but they won't pierce. These things pierce through the enemies. I'll show you. Another thing, just like the bomb dispensers, these are on their own set timer. They don't trigger. So once you put these up, they will fire all on their own consistently. And in long kill tunnels, these are awesome. Morningstar Shooter. I love this one too. I don't really use it anymore though. So this one, if you look at it, the trigger range is actually half a tile to the left, to the right, above, but not below. And then these also have a trigger range of 4 tiles out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What these do, I had a buddy that was like, he always throws them on the ground because he wants it to trigger, right? Okay, so we'll do that. We'll throw this one up 1. 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 This one, all the way to the ceiling. Okay. These things bounce around everywhere, and they do heavy damage. I have yet to see a ceiling that does not trigger these. So every ceiling that I've been able to put these on, they will always trigger. Meaning you can have your wall traps down here, and if you have another solid wall, they really need to fill this wall in. If you have a solid wall on the other side, they're not going to bounce out. They're going to bounce back and forth, and you can just drop these all above your traps and have a ton more damage dropping in on top of everybody. Fully upgraded. The balls last 10 seconds. There's a reset time of 15 seconds, so and then the damage of 540. So to give you an idea of some of the fun things you could do, you could throw your wall darts right here. You could throw your bomb dispenser. And then you could even throw, if you had a high enough wall, some more of these up here. And if you had a tunnel, you're forcing them down, or a path, or a corner. Boom. Everything in here is just getting lit up. Push trap. I haven't really used this one yet, surprisingly. But it is a 1x1. It comes out 2 tiles.
This will delay their approach.
And it, I believe, knocks them back 2 tiles. So we'll do this first. So we can have somebody coming down within the 1 tile range, and then somebody coming down the 2 tile range. The 2 tile guy should bounce back to the 2nd tile, meaning he comes back effectively 2 tiles. This guy is going to land probably right about here, effectively 2 tiles. Yep. Almost 3. So these are used for delay or to push things off cliffs. Again, trolls and ogres can be affected up above the 2-tile range. These will not push ogres and trolls by default. You have to get a thread to do so. It has a cooldown of 9 seconds. It actually does a little bit of damage as well. And it's cheap as hell at 300. Fully upgraded. Next we have spike walls. These have become my primary currently. They do a good chunk of damage at 540. The reset, same thing, 9 seconds. Price, 500. You can get these down to, what do I have them down to sometimes? 275 with a thread. And these guys also come out 2 tiles.
Not this way, orcs.
You'll notice the hologram comes out 2. Okay. Let's go ahead and push them all over. And it knocks them back, what, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3. 3 or 4 spots. Another fun thing you can do with this that I found out. Rotate it upward. Okay.
This will block their ramp.
Wonder how high they go. Actually, I've never tried this before. Sweet. Next up, we're going to use wall blades. These are handy on short walls, and there's a few areas in the game where you don't have enough wall space for a full-size trap. These have a 7.5 second cooldown, damage 540. So on a short wall, you can put them like this, right? And you can move people through a corridor. I like this a lot. You can double dip with them by rotating them vertically if you have the space.
We mustn't forget the basics.
So everybody gets hit more times. We've got the wall charger for electric effect. This thing hits like a truck as well. Reset time 10.5. The static effect is 7.5 seconds. So electrified is a status effect the game doesn't explain. When you hit an enemy with electric, whether it's a ceiling or a wall, they have a 7.5 second debuff or status effect that when they die, while affected by electrified, they will chain react electricity outward to other enemies. I believe it's 3. I could be wrong. This one has
The Order's ramparts are crucial.
a 1.5 tile trigger range. So it comes out past the first tile and halfway through this tile. So 1.5 out. Oh, that's not going to work. My bad.
The orcs will not cross.
That'll work. Zap. And it can hit multiple. See, he dies and electrocutes the next one. The electrified status effect did not apply to the next guy down the line, and then he is electrified. So it's not an indefinite chain reaction. And lastly, we've got the Wall Scorcher. This applies burning similar to the Brimstone floor trap. Has the same status effect duration of 6.5 seconds as the Brimstone. And I think it does the same damage, 37.5. 37.5, so it's the exact same thing. This has 4 charges they have to walk on and has a reset time of 9 seconds. This has a reset time of 14 seconds, stays active for 3 seconds, but it can reach 3 tiles.
Will obey the barricades.
So it triggers outward, I can get a good angle, 3 tiles. So we can come down. There, got everybody. Now they're all burning. Does it have an initial... I haven't even looked... I don't use these. Does it have an initial damage? The Brimstone hits harder for its first tick. Does this do the same thing? No, it does not. Now, if you haven't seen the floor trap video yet, you can take the new Rift Barricade, which buffs other traps that are touching it, right? So it won't buff things diagonally, but it can buff anything touching it. You'll see how it glows. It does apply to wall traps, as long as it's touching the wall. I want to see if it
Against the chaos.
affects the dot damage. We were doing like 37, 39 dot damage. It does. It affects the dot damage. That is awesome. Because the Rift Barricade, when fully upgraded, increases the damage of the trap it's affecting by 50%. They're expensive. Fully upgraded, they're 3,000 price. But without upgraded, they're 5,000, I believe. On that same note, they don't always work well with traps. So obviously, if you put like this guy on here, it's not going to work well. It has a 1.5 range. So they have to be literally touching this to get hit by it. This guy has a 1.5, so that'll work. That guy does not work up there. It'll work down here. Let's see what it does. It's going to act goofy. Kind of works. The orbs will bounce off of this. I've had them sometimes just not come out. So it's iffy. But there you go. There's all the wall traps that are in the game currently. Hopefully this helps give some perspective on what you want to purchase right out the gate. Obviously, long term, you're going to have everything, so it's irrelevant. But I know when I was starting out, I really wanted to know what they did because I bought things that didn't quite do what I was hoping for. Nor did I realize how this one worked. So when I got this one, I was like, oh, this one's awesome. Right? So anyways, I'm off to go do ceilings next. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.